my dreams are so vivid and so intense. I'll literally wake up like it'll just decode your dream and get messages about your waking consciousness if you're looking to be more self-aware. And I was like, whoa, weird. The best case scenarios, I wake up and I don't remember any of my dreams. Apparently, shedding old psychic patterns and stepping into a new inner authority, which is fierce. And I'm awaking in the dream to my authentic direction. I feel like that is so tea and on par. Okay, let's talk about dreams and dream analysis. I first got into dream analysis. I didn't even know. Let me start from the beginning. I used to have dreams. I used to have nightmares as a kid. You know what I used to have nightmares of? I watched the Proud Family movie, and the little like mad scientist was like recreating these peanuts. I had nightmares about that. I had nightmares about Cruella de Vil, and those are like the two top nightmares I remember having as a kid. And so going to sleep was just always sleeping for me has always just been like an anxious activity. And I would hate when people would be like, oh, your dreams aren't real. They are. They literally are. Like, dream analysis scientists have literally proven that like your brain never fully shuts off to go to sleep. Your brain is still going through activity, and you are just literally using like different parts of your brain when you're sleeping. So if anyone tries to tell you that your nightmares or your dreams, like, don't worry about it, it's not real. They are real. They may not be anchored in your physical reality when you're conscious, but that doesn't take away their validity and their realness, because it would just really frustrate me when people would be like, get over your nightmares, they're not real. I would be like, I'll fist you. Like, don't even say that to me. So growing up, I had really bad nightmares, had a hard time falling asleep. And then once I phased out of the like watching cartoons, Disney era, I would say probably from like 10 to 20, the next decade of my life, I kept having this reoccurring nightmare where like the world was ending in my dream, and I was the only one who knew how to save it, but nobody would listen to me or no one would believe me. And I feel like looking back on that now, a lot of that is just probably how I felt about my outer world, that like no one was listening to me. And now, then this is how we get into it. The past 3 years, I've gotten into dream work, like interpreting my dreams. I first started working with a therapist that was a Jungian analyst. She like had studied under Carl Jung, which is this American psychologist, and he kind of laid the framework out for your dreams are your subconscious trying to tell you what you're consciously ready to hear. So like when you wake up and you remember your dreams, the bridge between your subconscious and conscious is like strong enough for that message to come over. And if you're constantly waking up and you're like, oh, I never remember my dreams, my understanding of that is that that bridge between your subconscious and conscious, just like the message wasn't strong enough. Like you weren't like consciously ready to absorb that message. And I honestly love it when my conscious isn't ready to absorb what my subconscious has to tell me, because my dreams are so vivid and so intense. I'll literally wake up like it'll just feel like I didn't sleep at all. But when I do have dreams and I do remember them, they're super vivid. I can remember the text, or I can remember not the taste. I can remember smells in my dreams. Like I smell things in my dreams. I can feel the texture of things in my dreams. And when I was working with a therapist that was a Jungian analyst, she would have me document my dreams in as much detail as I possibly could, and then give it a title, and then write like the day, night that it happened. And we would go over them, and she would like point out all these different symbolism meanings in my dreams, and would frequently ask me like, well, what does this mean to you? And what does that mean to you? And I think Carl Jung's thing was, he wasn't like a dream interpreter himself, but he would constantly ask his clients like, okay, if you dreamed of Brian, your next door neighbor, for example, when you think of Brian, what are the first couple of things that you think of when you have that persona? And so then your dream is like giving you messages through what you already have given meaning to. So I thought it would be fun for this YouTube video to talk about these 2 dreams that I had last night that are just, they were so vivid. When I woke up, I was like, oh, holy crap, I can't stop thinking about this similar theme in both of my dreams. And I put it in ChatGPT to get the Carl Jungian perspective on it, and it was really cool the way that it analyzed my dream. And I was like, I think people would like this. I think if you're dreaming and you're like, I just can't stop thinking about that dream that I had, I don't know what it means, girl, you put that shit in ChatGPT. Or maybe you've never even heard of like the Jungian analysis of dream work, and you're like, wait, I want to know what my dreams are telling me. Spoiler alert, if you're dreaming about him cheating on you, he's cheating on you. Your subconscious can pick up on things before you consciously pick up on things. It's kind of like it's like first impression vibes, like when you walk into a room and you're like, ooh, the energy feels really bright and playful and cheery here. Or you meet someone and you're like, ooh, I just get like a grumpy like feeling from them. So that's like your subconscious being able to like pick up on things before your logic mind can put its foot down and anchor it into some type of story that helps you understand in your waking life. So last night I had these 2 dreams. This is literally what I put into ChatGPT. I had these dreams last night where halfway through both of these dreams that I remember, it felt like I was waking up, or I was all of a sudden becoming conscious of what was happening. Side note, if you are conscious in your dreams, that's actually lucid dreaming. I know that lucid dreaming to me, I thought was like, oh, I can control the dream. And I'm like, alligator, come up. Porsche, come in this color, and like you can manipulate your dream. That can be an aspect of lucid dreaming, but also a different aspect of lucid dreaming is just you being consciously aware in your dream. So let's say you're dreaming like I remember I used to have this dream where I was like at a party and someone was like, oh, do you want a drink? And I was consciously aware. I was like, oh no, I can't drink, I have therapy like in a couple of hours, because I would have therapy the next day. So anytime you are consciously aware in your dreams, you are lucid dreaming. And I got into lucid dreaming the more that I was writing down my dreams. So I was writing down my dreams for the past like 2-ish years, and then my dreams started getting way too vivid and way too intense. So I stopped writing my dreams, and honestly, like I said, I like it better when I sleep and I don't dream, because I feel more restful and restorative when I'm able to wake up without remembering my dreams. And these are the 2 dreams that I remember last night. And this, I want to share with you like the chat interpretation, and then you can always put this in ChatGPT or whatever AI thing you use and help decode your dream and get messages about your waking consciousness if you're looking to be more self-aware. So I had these 2 dreams where I was waking up, and in the middle of the dream, it felt like I was becoming conscious of what was happening. Like I couldn't remember what happened earlier in the dream, but all of a sudden I was like, oh my gosh, I'm here. So in the first dream, I literally remember wearing this black tank top that I used to own that I don't even own anymore. These black shorts that I still own, and this blanket that I don't really use anymore, but it's still at my house. And it felt like it was 3 a.m. in my dream. Okay, another side note, do you feel like you know what type of day, what hour it is just by like tuning into your body? Like when I wake up, before I actually check the clock, I'll check in with my body and be like, it feels like it's 7:26, and then I'll like check, and usually I'm pretty close. Oftentimes I can be off, like I'm not getting the exact to the minute, but I feel like I'm pretty close. And then very rarely am I like not even collecting the right hour. But there's just something, maybe it's that I'm like newly in tune with my body, and I spend a lot more time outside. I feel like a kid, like I've got to spend an hour outside every day or else I don't sleep well. But I can just feel like I can tell what time it is in my body, even if there isn't a clock. And so in my dream, I'm like, oh, I know exactly what I'm wearing. I have this blanket wrapped around me. It kind of feels like summer-ish. And I'm like, it's 3 a.m., it's dark. I'm walking past this park that was down the hill from my childhood home. And when I wake up and become conscious in this dream, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's nighttime, it's dark, I'm walking the wrong way. I should head back up the hill and go home and go to sleep. So that was the first dream, and I was like, whoa, weird. And then the second dream that I had was that I was at my current house, and one of my old friends was at my house like eating dinner, and I became like conscious in the dream, and I was like, why is she at my house? We're not friends anymore. We haven't talked in like a couple of years. So I'm trying to like usher her out my house. I'm like, and she's like, she's like, and I'm like, and we're like, and they're like, During the dream, when I become conscious, I realize that we're like eating dinner at my house, and she's trying to put like the dishes in the sink. And because I become conscious in the dream and I'm like, we're not even friends anymore, I try to usher her out my house as fast as possible. Like, let me get the door for you. Don't even worry about it. And she's like, I didn't put the dishes away. And I was like, don't even worry about it. Just go. Because I became conscious in the dream of like, why is this person I'm not friends with anymore at my house eating dinner? I want them out my house. And when I opened the door, she had a truck parked in my driveway, and she used to drive a different type of car in my waking conscious life. And I was like, oh, you got a new truck? And in the dream, she goes, yeah, I told you I got a new truck. I said that earlier during our conversation. Like, don't you remember? And so it was then in the dream where I was like, whoa, I just started lucid dreaming. I just started becoming conscious of the dream, like halfway through the dream, 2 dreams in a row. And I just couldn't stop thinking about it throughout my morning. So I was like, you know what? I think this calls for a chat interpretation. I don't do this all the time for all my dreams. Like I said, best case scenarios, I wake up and I don't remember any of my dreams. Apparently, even if you don't remember your dreams, you're still having the dreams. It's just that bridge isn't. Think of it like a conveyor belt. Like if something is meant to move on to the next stage, it'll move, and then you'll remember your dreams. And if it's not, then you don't remember your dreams, which that's how I like. But since I remember these ones, and I was like, I can't seem. Sometimes I have dreams, and I'm like, oh, this means this in my life, or this is alluding to this theme that I'm experiencing right now. But this one, I couldn't shake the feeling how in both dreams I became conscious like halfway through. And I was wondering, I'm like, why my childhood home? Why my old friend that I'm not friends with at my current house? So I put it in the dream. What my prompt for chat is, I had these dreams last night where blah, 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 say all the dreams. And then at the end of it, I say, I'm wondering what this means, perhaps from a Carl Jung perspective. I'd like to explore my dreams from a Jungian perspective, and I need your help sifting through what my subconscious is trying to tell me or show me about the dreams that I remember from last night. So that's the prompt that I use for chat. And then, chat 8 with this, it says, your dreams weren't random. They carried a very clear Jungian pulse, and both of your dreams share this unifying theme of you like waking up inside the dream and suddenly remembering like who you are now and not who you were before. This is the exact type of symbolism Jung associates with individualization. I feel like that is what I've been talking about on this channel, and shedding old psychic patterns and stepping into a new inner authority, which is fierce. So then it says, let's break down so that the message becomes unmistakable. Dream 1, waking up in my childhood home around 3 a.m. Symbol, childhood home can equal my former self, my old identity, and my old conditioning. In Jungian work, the childhood home is almost always symbolically you before you knew yourself. I feel like kids experience individualization at like 7 years old, and I'm 26. But we all have different life experiences, and some people may die never having achieved a sense of self, or a strong sense of self, a conscious sense of self. And then it gives me the symbolic meaning of 3 a.m. and that like witching hour of that darkness, and it being dark outside is unconscious territory. Typically darkness, oceans, pools, big forms of water represent your unconscious. And so this is the place where unresolved patterns sleep. And then waking up in the dream and then deciding to walk the opposite direction from home, or I was walking the opposite direction from home, is like moving away from my old identity. But I realized I was moving the wrong way when I became conscious in the dream. So turning around is awakening to my authentic direction. That's the moment in the message. Like, how could you ever think, you know what I mean? Like, I had this dream where I'm walking past the park that I used to play at, and it feels like it's 3 a.m. and it's dark and I need to go home. And it's literally telling me that I'm walking away from my old conditioning, and I'm awaking in the dream to my authentic direction. Fierce, so fierce. And so the Jungian interpretation It's my psyche showing me that I'm no longer on autopilot in the direction of childhood conditioning, wounds, or old roles. I've reached a place where I can wake up inside the dream, symbolically wake up inside old patterns and say, this is not the direction I want to go anymore. I feel like that is so tea and on par to, like, I don't want to feel like the victim anymore. I don't want to blame people for one-sided relationships that I'm in. It's just like, this is the moment. I'm here. I'm awake. I'm authentically aligned. In Jung's terms, this is the ego meeting the self, a moment of inner alignment. I feel like fireworks going off inside of me right now. And I am leaving my old psychic house, and now I'm conscious of my moments. What have I been telling you about choices? That we have 30,000 choices throughout the day. And my practice of stoicism is that I don't get to control anything but my next choice. But the next 2 seconds, the choice that I make 2 seconds from now is the only thing in my control. And this dream is reflecting my development. It's just so awesome because it feels like that thing where you're constantly doing it and you're like, oh, it's kind of tedious to do it. Like, it was pretty, not that tedious, but it was just like a lot of anxiety that I was moving through. I feel like a lot of hypervigilance and tenseness in my body. And I kept having to say out loud, what's in my control, I focus on. What's not in my control, I let go of. And outgrowing friendships or things going on just in the political climate, things going on in interpersonal relationships, dramas coming up. It's all this stuff that I just constantly tell myself, I can't control that. That's not in my control. So I focus what's in my control. And to have my dream be like, yes, girl, it's working. It just is such a great medallion and such pride that I'm filled with. It's like, oh, all this time talking out loud to myself and saying what's in my control and what's not in my control is aligning to my authentic self and helping me awake and be more conscious. Love. So the second dream about the old best friend being at my house, this dream mirrors the first, but instead of childhood me, it shows the past relationship or an outdated version of a friendship dynamic. Hello, last week's video or 2 weeks, whatever, a couple videos back was just all about how I'm done choosing one-sided relationships because I wasn't awake in choosing I wasn't conscious about choosing my friendships. And so the symbols of my house is my current psychological space, my psyche, and my home in the dream is my current me. And then my old best friend showing up in the dream is like a shadow of an older relation pattern. Not a shadow as in something bad, but just something outdated and previously unconscious, which is me unconsciously choosing or attracting one-sided relationships. And so me trying to usher her out is my individualization. How do I say this word? Individuation. So there's individualization and there's individuation. Boundary work, honey. Basically, I'm finally becoming my own person. I'm becoming the woman I was always meant to be. So me trying to usher her out and get her out of my house is practicing a new way of relating. This is my favorite part of the analysis. When I read this, I was like, I need to tell the girls, no people pleasing. It literally says my dream and my psyche and my unconscious, everything is literally telling me no more people pleasing, no more over accommodating, no more letting old dynamics occupy my psychic home, which I feel like I've been working so hard the past 8 months to let go of people pleasing tendencies. And my in for 2026 is being a mean ass bitch because I don't want to please people that we're nothing. I just don't want to please people. Okay. I'm done making other people feel comfortable, especially as a woman. I don't give a fuck if I make you uncomfortable. If my success, my light, my language, my storytelling, my emotions, if any of that makes you uncomfortable, that is your shit to deal with. I'm not gonna water myself down and dim my light and filter myself to make myself more digestible for other people. Hell no. And then another sign, symbolism that it says is the truck is, because remember I opened the door and I'm like, oh, interesting, you have a truck. I remember you're driving a different car in my waking reality. And her new truck is her moving on or transforming. So vehicles in Jungian analysis is how someone moves through life. Her new vehicle being a truck is showing that she's changed. She's operating from a different mode than me, and then we don't quite resonate. Is like my old shadow patterns and outdated unconscious patterns being like, it just doesn't work. We're moving on, we're transforming. And then her saying in the dream, my friend saying like, I told you that I got a new truck. You don't remember? Like during our conversation, because I woke up like halfway through the dream. It says that this is powerful Jungian imagery. It's the psyche saying you don't need to carry the memories or patterns of old relationships anymore. I'm not meant to remember the old script. I'm not meant to fall into old versions of myself. I am like so solidified. I am so conscious of my new standards that I don't even have to remember the old anymore because it's gone. So I think to me, my interpretation of this is like, don't be afraid of attracting the wrong people, because I'm in such a new space that it's just not even like relationally possible. So that kind of eats. Girl, all the work I'm doing is working. And so Jung's take on waking up inside of dreams, both of the dreams had the same theme, that I like suddenly remember where I am, who I am, what needs to be done. And Jung would call this a dream of psychic reorientation, meaning my inner compass is recalibrating. Huzzah! I feel like my inner compass was very wonky for a while. And I remember being at my corporate job, and my manager at the time told me, when I was like debating, am I gonna quit or take time off and whatever. And I just remember him telling me like, you have such a strong inner compass that I haven't seen in other people. And he was like, you just need to take some time to like recalibrate it. Because he's like, you do have such a strong inner compass. And I didn't know what he meant at that time, like at 23, 24 years old. I had no idea what that meant. And now I'm like, yes, my inner compass is, first of all, I'm getting in tune with my inner compass, knowing that I do have something inside of me that pulls me towards things or pulls me away from things. And it's recalibrating to this new sense of self, to this individuation. And this is what happens when you, this part, also, there's many parts to this where I was like, I need to tell you, but this part where it says, this is what happens when you outgrow old friendships. Hello. Stop people pleasing. Double hello. Build new boundaries. God, that's so sexy. Step into self-trust. I feel like a goddess. And you create a new identity. Like, I'm starting a new book. And this is all stuff I've literally been telling you. So myself is trying to show me I don't live here anymore. I don't live in my previous book. I am in a new book, and it's a huge sign of growth. And so in bullet points, what is my subconscious trying to tell me? I'm no longer who I used to be. Fierce. My unconscious is catching up to my conscious transformation. Because that's another thing too. You can like consciously make choices that are in your better interest and what you want for this version of yourself that you feel like you're meant to be. But you can have these outdated programs running in the background, and that's the unconscious. And now my unconscious is finally caught up to my conscious, because I've made enough conscious decisions and it's felt safe enough in my body to do so that my unconscious is like, okay. So we were running this program for the past 20 years where she was choosing one-sided relationships and people pleasing and not trusting herself, and that's what helped her survive another day. It helped her survive another year. So we anchored that in as safety. And now within this past year, she's been choosing herself. She's not people pleasing, and she's following like her true essence. And she's shown us over these past couple of months that it's safe, that she's still alive, she hasn't died. And I'm like, that's so cool. You can literally wake up and be your true self. That sounds a lot. That sentence within itself, let me just tell you, sounds so much easier than what the actual action of the past year of my life has been. onto the next bullet point though. I'm waking up in places I used to be asleep, where I once repeated patterns unconsciously. I now recognize them in the moment, even in my dreams. And it's time to fully step into the next book. This dream echoes what I've told Chat earlier, which is like the first book of my life is closed, and I'm transitioning into this next book of my life, where this next book is written with my awareness intact. Like, I've never been so self-aware. And I like this last one where it says, I don't need to carry the past with me. The forgetting, like, I don't remember waking up here. I don't remember the friend telling me that she got the new car during the conversation, is that I'm not meant to remember that old version. Like, I can let go of that old version because this new version is locked into place and solidified and has a strong foundation. And then it gives me journal prompts. Again, this is how Carl Jung would go through his sessions. He would ask them, like, what do these symbols mean to you? Here is what I've gathered from what symbols mean, like the house, the car, things of that nature, the darkness, the light. And then he would ask questions too if you want to get further in to like deepen the message for yourself. I'm like, girl, I don't need to, let me just ride this high. I don't need to go deeper. See, this is my inner compass. This is my self-trust being like, okay, I know where to stop. I know what feels right for me in this moment. And just the final insight is both of these dreams show integration, which is very exciting. I'm stepping out of my old psychic house. I'm ushering out old relationship patterns, and I'm waking up in dreams, which means I'm waking up in life. And it is so delicious, juicy, yummy, so good. And this is the exact kind of dream that someone has when they are closing one book and on to the next. Wasn't that so fun? Just from like 2 dreams that I couldn't stop thinking about, and I felt this theme throughout both of them where I'm like waking up halfway through the dream, and to see it all laid out just feels like all the puzzle pieces coming together. It felt like I had the puzzle pieces, you know, when you're like laying out a puzzle and you're like, I think this one goes here and this one goes here, or like these are all the corner pieces, so let me put them in the corner. And I feel like having this analysis through Chat is like, okay, we had them in close corners, and now we know for sure, like boom, 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 and it starts like building out the picture. So that is how I use ChatGPT and Carl Jung perspective to derive meaning from my dreams that helps me feel that's how it helps me feel. It helps me feel like taking a deep breath. It helps me feel grounded, introspective, further develops and strengthens my self-awareness, and more importantly, I just feel like empowered and confident from this. So as always, this is just obviously what Chat gives you is just information, and you should always filter through the information that you read or that you're given through yourself to be like, what resonates, what doesn't, and it's okay to take things that resonate and leave what doesn't all the time. Please do that, because that is how you're gonna recalibrate and hone into your inner compass. Girl, you want to achieve your dreams. You have a dream to be a chef, to be a news anchor, whatever desire is placed on your heart, and you're like, I just feel so stuck, or I feel so far away from that, or I feel like trapped in some corporate job that I hate because of money. Like, once you start dialing in that inner compass, it like leads you down a path where like your finances are taken care of, your health is taken care of, once you're in the right alignment. Yes. Well, that's how I use ChatGPT to analyze my dreams in a Carl Jungian fashion. What'd you think? Pretty fun, right? I know sometimes, well, before, I don't have any friends right now, but I used to have friends, and when I was getting this work, and they would call me and they would tell me about their dreams, and I'd be like, and I'm picking up on this, or what does this person mean to you? And it's just so fun to derive meaning and do dream work to help supplement meaning to your waking conscious reality. So get into it. If you remember your dreams and want some analysis, I like going the Carl Jungian route on ChatGPT. If you're like, I don't remember my dreams, but I want to start remembering my dreams, when you first wake up, either, I don't know if you sleep with your phone in the bedroom. I personally don't most of the time, but you can always like voice record it right away so you can remember it later, or you could keep a journal by your bedside and like write it all out. And then the more you do that, the more you'll start to remember your dreams. And I remember in the beginning of my dreams, like I didn't have technology in my dreams. I couldn't smell and I couldn't feel things in my dreams, and I couldn't bring in part of my consciousness into my dreams. And from documenting my dreams for a couple of years, I got really, it just like further developed my dreams, which I didn't know was possible. But now I'm at a place where sometimes I have dreams and it's like way too intense. Girl, and sometimes I have dreams where I feel like I'm other people. Like I feel like I'm literally in the body of someone else and I'm like acting out someone else's life. It's crazy. It's crazy. But yeah, that was my dream interpretation analysis, how I like to do dream work. And I will see you in the next one. Goodbye. Have fun interpreting your dreams if you get into it and you want to do some dream work. Do the dream work if you're trying to make your dream life. I don't really know if it works like that, but like here I am living proof. So I guess we'll just see. Goodbye.